In this exercise, we're going to be creating the C bracket using Onshape. C bracket is a 9x9 plate that has 5 holes in it. The smaller holes being 1 inch and the larger hole being 1.5. So we're going to start the C bracket out with a new file. I'm going to go back to the base. I'm just go back to create, and I'm going to do document. And I already have one named C bracket already, so I'm just going to put a 1 behind this one. But for your purposes, you will put just call it what it is, which is C bracket. All right, I'm going to do create. Okay, so when we start out, we're going to start out on the front plane. The thickness of this object is only like 0.25, and we can really do that with a notation rather than showing more than one view. All right, so we're going to start out with a sketch. We're going to pick our front plane here, and then we're going to turn it toward us. So I'm going to start out with a rectangle. So I'm just kind of pan this over by holding down the wheel of the mouse. And I'm going to pan this over, and I'm going to use rectangle to create rectangle that is going to be 9x9. So I'm going to kind of get close to the numbers as I can, but you don't have to be exactly on them because we're going to use dimensions in order to shape it up. So I'm going to use dimension for the bottom line, and it's 10.27. I'm going to make it 9, and I'm going to use one for the right side. And right now it's 8 because it resized itself. I'm going to make that one 9 as well. All right, so next I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to put another rectangle here. I'm going to shape that one up as well. So this line of it is going to be 4.50. This line is going to be 3. And the distance between this edge and this edge is also going to be 3. And that's going to adjust it. So when we finish sketch and extrude, we'll actually extrude around this section. We could spend time trimming that out. And if you want to do that, you can. It does the same thing. All right, so we'll finish the sketch. I'm going to put it in an isometric. And I'm going to go ahead and extrude it. And set my distance to 0.25. And hit the check mark. All right, so that's going to give me my initial base. And I'm going to go ahead and put it back in isometric. And I'm going to start a new sketch. This time, choosing the front view. All right, let's face it toward the front. And I'm going to use circle. So I'm going to start out with just a regular circle, center point circle. I very seldom use the 3-point or the ellipse for anything, but the center point is probably the most common one you'll use. And I'm just going to kind of lock into this corner, to this midpoint right here, and then I'm going to drag my mouse across. I'm not going to click on it. I'm just going to lock into that point so I can get this yellow line to make a parallel constraint. And then I'm going to come somewhere toward the middle and pick, and I'm going to make my circle. So in this case, we're going to use dimensions. And we're going to make this 1.50. Yeah, let's make it 2. I think that's closer to the number. All right, so then I'm just going to continue using circle. And I'm going to line up with this point. And I'm not going to click on it. I'm just going to line up with it. So I'm going to touch it when it turns yellow. Then I'm going to drag my mouse straight. And it's going to give it a vertical constraint. And I'm going to do the same thing with the one at the bottom. Now, I haven't put a size in for the circles just yet, but that's my next step. So I'm going to go ahead and make these 1. And to keep from doing so much at one time, I'm going to go ahead and just go ahead and do some dimensions. And I'm going to make that 1.50. I'm going to do the same thing at the bottom. And I'm going to put one between here and here. And that one's already 4.50 because I locked into this point right here. So that one we can just either hit escape or hit OK. And now we're just going to align it vertically. And we'll do 2.25, and that's going to center it. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and hit the check mark and finish that sketch. And then I'll do the last 2 holes on a different one. So I'm going to do extrude again. I'm going to pick the 3 circles. And this time I'm going to put it on remove. And it's going to reverse it. And I'm going to hit OK. All right, so that gives us an initial C bracket with 3 of the holes in it. So we just got to put the last 2. All right, so we're going to do another sketch, but this time, and we'll do it on the same plane as before. So I'm going to do a sketch. I'm going to pick this surface. I'm going to rotate it toward me so I can look straight at it. If you're comfortable doing it in isometric, that's fine, but it's a little bit more tedious to do it that way. So then again, circle. I'm going to lock into the center of this one, if it'll let me. And if it doesn't, that's okay. And I'm going to lock these 2 in together. And both of them also be 1. Looks like it adjusted both of them. Or pretty close. All right, so I'm just going to put it in the middle. If it'll let me. There we go. So it should be 1.50 for that one. $1.50 for that one. And we'll adjust both of them from left to right at the same time. There we go. And we're going to go 2.25 in. So because they were aligned together, they should actually move together. But if you want to check it just in case, dimensions get a little tricky. I think because it's locked in, it won't let me do the dimension. So that means it's already set. So it's giving me this error right here. All right, so we're just gonna leave that as is. All right, so we're gonna finish the sketch. And I'm gonna put it in isometric. I can use my cube for that as well. And you can also grab the whole of the cube in some cases and spin it around, but I mostly just use my right mouse button to do that, and it works much faster anyway. Then I'll just go back to isometric. All right, so we're gonna extrude. I'm gonna pick those two. And we're gonna put it on remove. And we hit OK. So the C bracket is technically done. So there's no save button in Onshape. It automatically saves every few minutes. So if you hit the drop down, you'll notice that there's no save button. So the good thing about this program is that it does save your work as you go along. But what we are going to do is go ahead and create a drawing for it. So we just go to the plus here, create drawing, and we're going to use a C-size sheet because it is 9x9, so it's fairly large part. All right, so we're just going to grab the part and bring it over, and I'm going to center it on the view. All right, and by default, it gives us the center lines already, which is a lovely thing. And then I'm going to project off of this one. I'm going to get my isometric over here in the corner. So I'm going to click once, and then it's going to place it. So all we got left here are really just dimensions and the title block information. So we're going to do dimension. We'll bring this one out. That's right there. And we'll go from this one to this one. Line it up. And then from this one to this one. And line it up as well. Then we just need an overall for the height, which would be 9. And we'll do pretty much the same going this way. All right. So since we already have those other two lined up over there for the holes going through, we don't necessarily need those two. We just need these two right here. And then last but not least is putting in dimension. So we'll double click on that. And we're going to put 4 holes. All caps. And because we did 4 holes, we don't need to do every single one of those that are exactly the same. So we're going to do dimension for this one also. So we're just going to kind of move it up at an angle so it doesn't touch anything else. And that is pretty much it for the design itself. We just got to do the title block information. And let's see, we got to find that text tool that actually works without doing that. Oh, you know what? We're not going to do that. Here's a shortcut, because that one is a little bit annoying to work with. So we're just going to take this parameter right here and move it up. And we're going to take this bottom parameter and delete it. Let me do that. Undo. All right, so if we double click on this one, we can go ahead and just change it. Double click here. And we're going to see bracket. All right, the scale is already set 1 to 2, so which means that it's at a half scale. There's no drawing number. It picks up today's date, and it should pick up your name, but if it doesn't, you can always double click and then change it. So if it's putting your student ID number there instead of your name, then just double click and change it to your name. All right, so as far as the drawing as it is with the isometric and so forth, it is actually done. So this is actually trying to give it a little color. So it's doing a hatch. Let's see, can we find something that looks okay? It doesn't have a whole lot in here. So I'm gonna make it steel. Yeah, we're just gonna leave that alone. All right, so I'm gonna go to here. We're gonna go to print, and even though it says print, it's not really gonna print it. It's just gonna convert it into an isometric. So we're gonna convert that to the isometric, not isometric, into a PDF. And once it converts it into a PDF, you're just simply gonna do the download, and you're gonna save it. Hit save, and as you see, it'll bounce up and for a download, and then that's the file that you'll actually turn in. And that's pretty much it. So if you have any questions, just come across the hall and I'll help you get started or clear up any kind of questions that you may have.